when I tell people about my new job and the topic I'm working on, they're used to me talking about smoking or mental health. And when I say air pollution, they think of it more from like a pollution perspective. So more from the, I guess, climate change perspective rather than the health perspective. But it's been really interesting to think about how you can pull those two things together, because climate change affects our health.
Yeah.
And to be able to have a topic that can really clearly bring those two things together is quite cool. And it's also a challenge because it's multi-layered, and the more complicated it gets, the harder it can be to just have those single-minded messages to people.
Yeah. Yeah, but an opportunity perhaps as well, because I think for me, there's a couple of links with air pollution and climate. One, as you say, they're both really bad for your health. I mean, they kill you. We're seeing the devastating impacts of Pakistan just this week. We've seen the impacts of the heat wave across Europe this summer. And air pollution kills 7 million people every year. So it's like they're both really, really bad. And the other link, and this I think is kind of interesting to your point, that it's a difficult challenge, but actually they both come from the same place. They have the same source, which is burning fossil fuels. So in a way that presents an opportunity, because it means the solution has to be stopping the burning of fossil fuels, which will cut air pollutants and carbon dioxide. And the main source of both carbon emissions and nitrogen dioxide air pollution is transport. So you can start sort of narrowing it down and then look at those solutions which will have both carbon and air pollution and health benefits. And it's a very powerful motivator, because I think for humans to act, we have to feel sort of something has to be personally relevant. And climate change, I think to most people in the UK still feels like somebody else's problem somewhere else. It's still some time away, it's happening in another country, although I think people are realising it's getting closer and closer, and it's today's problem. But air pollution is very here and now. You can see the cars outside, the office here, outside your door at home. It's very immediate and personal, and is therefore a very good motivator for change. So our work at Global Action Plan, because actually our charitable objectives are around carbon reduction and climate change, that almost our work on air pollution is kind of climate action by stealth, because we're sort of using air pollution as a motivator of change to engender climate action, and you get the co-benefits along the way.
Yeah, it's that personal way of actually getting people to care, which is, makes sense.
Yeah.
We used to call it health by stealth.
Health by stealth,
you're doing climate by stealth.
Climate by stealth.
Or climate and health by stealth.
Both of them. Yeah. New catchphrase. Yeah,
that's really interesting.
Yeah, while it is very tricky, I think we can look at those solutions and focusing quite a lot on particularly transport at the moment. Because I think it's difficult, but it's possible. Because while in the UK, most of our cities are designed around vehicles which are powered by fossil fuels, that's not the case everywhere. If you look at most cities in the Netherlands, if you look at places like Barcelona, they are now prioritising town design around people rather than vehicles, which obviously has so many other positive co-benefits. It's all the physical activity of walking and cycling, as well as cutting carbon emissions. If you switch away from cars as your primary mode of transport, promote more walking, cycling, public transport. So it can be done, we just have to start enacting that. And there are examples of it, places like Nottingham doing pretty well, places like London Borough of Waltham Forest, getting into this idea of the 15-minute city, so that most of the facilities and amenities that you need are within 15-minute walk or cycle. Because then you don't need a car.
Going back to the village ways.
Yeah, and that's
I remember coming to London, you see that used to be a village, but then the death of the high street happened, and then something kind of broke down, didn't it?
But people like community. They like that kind of village feel, and you get more of that when you're out and about on foot, and when the roads are quieter, because we noticed this during the lockdowns, the COVID lockdowns, and actually did some lived experience research, and people really like taking back the public space. They could actually talk to their neighbour over the street, socially distanced, of course, but there weren't cars herring by, so the kids could go out and play in the street, walk in the street safely, and you get to know your neighbours a bit, and it's sort of, you build that social cohesion as well as getting the exercise benefit. So it's just nicer. I'm sure it's better for us. So we just need to really prioritise that way of being